Hey, what's up, people?
Hi. Hello.
The boys are back. We have returned. Hey, how you guys?
We managed before the
For
tourney
real.
continues. Incredible.
the gang is back. There you are. Welcome, Chad. We have our two guests right here. We have student athlete and we have Drakonno. Two people. It really wasn't a coincidence that we took the two longest haired people I've ever seen.
Yeah, we decided that we wanted to go religious this time around.
Oh yeah.
Definitely, yeah. That was the reason.
We got the blessed.
I throw mine off better, but like I just washed it, so it's still drying. You know.
We got the blessed
No,
cast.
the reason that we got Drakonno and student athlete this time around is for two very different reasons. The first idea was to get somebody from Australia on, because we haven't talked with anybody from Australia's team, one of the strongest teams, and of course Canada as well. So student athlete is here today to represent Team Canada for a scathing interview, because we're gonna dunk on Canada massively today. Stay tuned for that. That's not true. We're not that evil. But since it's 4 a.m. currently in Australia, nobody was up for the challenge. Honestly, kind of lame. I've been casting at 3 a.m. like 15 times the past 3 weekends. I think you could spare one player for the 4 a.m. cast, you know? That being said, we have the next best thing. We have our boy Drakonno, who's been showing himself as an actual wizard when it comes to match predictions, and we're gonna go through a bit of his methods. But before we do that, introduce us to our first topic, Mr. Magician.
Yes, surely I will. And as every time on the show so far in the past 3 weeks, we will be going over what happened this week in World Cup. If you guys haven't watched, and also because I haven't watched, because I was moving. If you didn't see my non-cleaned up new apartment, actually I'm going to cover that up right away so it gets blurred again. I really should have cleaned that. There's a bit of clothing on the.
I mean, you could have taken
on the
it
couch,
and thrown it behind the wall. No one would have known.
I forgot. I really forgot. I had that bit, and then I turned around and was like, damn, I should have cleaned this up. I really should have cleaned this up. But yeah,
You
that's... No, go ahead.
The 500 kilobits really help with masking that.
That's true. But it's only if you're watching on Twitch. On YouTube, it's the crisp. The mess is crisp. We'll
edit it out, don't worry.
Ah, yeah, that's great. Thank you. But yeah, we have had a pretty great round of matches, I believe. Okay, I just got a disconnect warning from OBS, so we're just gonna go through it. We don't care. We don't care about Twitch. Twitch is getting sacrificed. We really don't care. We're just gonna go. Yeah, we had. Okay, I need to change this actually. We had a great week of matches, which I could watch, so I'm gonna have to get someone to tell me what happened. Someone just gonna do
that. It's been a great week of matches for sure. We've seen some bangers, we've seen some washes, and I think we could start with the winners matches, which have been mostly uneventful. We're gonna talk about the UK-Canada match a bit more later on, I think. But when it comes to Australia, United States, US just keeps on going with their march to victory without losing a single map yet. And it's really up to next week to see if the UK is up to grab at least one. I think they're confident, but we're gonna have to see that, and we'll talk about it later.
It'd definitely be nice to see, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And we've had a few very nice matches, however, on the loser side. We've had Denmark-Sweden, which was a sweep. Sweden, unfortunately, this year really struggling, and that's just how it goes, you know. Denmark is finally getting their stuff together a little bit after quite a disappointing showing, in my opinion, against Canada. Of course, Canada is I think even now definitely a stronger team, but they could have done better against you guys, I think. but they did sweep Sweden, which of course is another great loss for this year. Sweden's team really in shambles. And then went on to beat Japan 4-1 in a very surprising manner. I'm certain that we've had some casters' predictions being thrown off right there. That was a great match. Denmark really showing that they can be one of the greatest teams if they just put their minds into it.
Yeah, that
Japan,
match was extremely impressive for sure.
Yeah. Japan, Germany, we're going to leave to the end. Not to the end of the stream, but afterwards, because, of course, we've got Ixen here, who was captain for Team Germany, and that was an absolute... like, most of us think the best match we've seen so far in the entire World Cup. And
I had people tell me it was scripted.
it was so good. It was awesome.
And Magician wasn't there to watch it. That's so sad.
That's so sad, actually. We've got Netherlands, Poland. With for me, the highlights was not much the win for the Netherlands, who I think is, I'm gonna say it right now, the third best team this year. I think they're gonna take number 3. Prove me wrong, Canada. But my highlight for that was the Drakonno just sliding his predictions in my chat before we even start the match, protected by a password, and he's like, at the end of the match, I'm gonna give you the password so you can see that my prediction are not bullshit.
You're welcome.
And it was absolutely incredible. We're gonna talk about that later as well. And then we have Finland, Norway, with another big upset. Norway being absolutely incredible this year, almost sweeping Finland 4-1, and then going to take 2 maps against the Netherlands, going out in match 24. Really doing great this year, Norway. So yeah, is there any match in particular that you guys wanna talk about before?
We can talk a little bit about Denmark, Japan. We don't have to go too much into detail, but I have the the predictions open for the casters, and some casters predicted Japan to win more than one. I think we had 2 casters who said that Japan would win. Most of them thought that Japan would take at least 2 maps, maybe even 3. And Denmark just proceeded to make me think that they're gonna sweep. Like, when they started going, I was like, they're so far ahead. I don't know if Japan can take even a single match here, a single map here. That was actually a very, very impressive performance by Denmark, in my opinion. I really didn't expect them to bring the heat that much. That was really
Tell you what,
good to see.
so much so that if they keep it going, because again, Denmark, the only problem with Denmark is that they're kind of inconsistent when it comes to performance. But when they perform, like, Australia needs to be wary, because it's not gonna be an easy victory for Australia, not one bit.
Yeah, that's gonna be. I think that's actually gonna be a very good matchup. Like, I'm really curious to see that now. Also, there was some very interesting messages going back and forth in the casters channel about that matchup, with people really not agreeing on each other how that one is gonna go. Like, complete opposites, like 100% opposites. It's really great. I wanna actually see how that works out, and I want to see also the interactions of the people.
You know what?
Predicting things.
I know those messages, but I think some of those messages were also referring to the Canada-Netherlands match.
Really?
I think so.
Okay.
Because I tell you right now, I you know what? No, I'm not gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna tell you.
Tell me in a little bit.
I'm gonna tell you in a little bit. But it's not an easy match for sure for either of them.
No.
Yeah.
I think before that, we have to talk about one of the matches that we've already talked a little bit about.
Yeah.
It is Japan-Germany, the one that I couldn't see because I was moving, which we have a little bit clickbaitily labeled our match of the year so far.
I mean, I agree, but I'm biased, I would say.
No, you're not. How would you be biased? There's no way. I don't get how you'd be biased.
Okay,
So
so
I'm
I'm
not
gonna.
biased, and it was.
It was actually incredible, and I want to tell a bit of a story about this match in general, because I feel like there's a lot of stuff that happened before that is also important that people maybe didn't even know about. So number one is scheduling with Japan is hard. It's very difficult. Number two, we only had 1 day to schedule. We had to put it on Saturday because Sunday the winner is gonna play again, right? So we had 1 day to schedule with Japan, and I had to actually talk with Kaki, who at 2 p.m. is usually not very functional. Kaki is someone who would rather play way later, and I already knew that Jesse couldn't make it for Saturday. So I only had Jesse for Sunday, so I was like, okay, so we gotta win without Jesse. That's a problem. Then it went on, and I had to basically talk with is it Hibit? I'm actually not sure how to pronounce.
Hibit, I guess.
Is it Hibit? Hibit. Okay. Talk with Hibit a bit because Hibit. Oh my god, that was not a
my god.
because they wanted to play at 1 p.m. I'm sorry. They want to play at 1 p.m. Just not a time. I was like, I can't lose Kaki as well because Kaki would have not been able to.
That's when he goes to bed, yeah.
So we managed 2 p.m. and 2 p.m. was okay. Kaki was not fully high energy at that time, but it's better than not having a Kaki on a team. Okay. A day before the match, I get a message by Sharks telling me, "Oh, I can't make it. I had something come up. It's like I can't postpone it. I didn't know." And I was like, two of us speed players are gone against Japan, where with all of our speed lineup, I think high speed would have been an option. You know, I was like, we have chances because we can play high speed and we have chances there. Well, no Sharks, man. We had 6 people in the matchup. Okay, well, the good part is, Sharks and Jesse are in most maps not really required, right? Everything outside speed we can deal with. Sharks is very good at every map, so it was kind of painful losing him on mid speed on tech as well. But you know, the beginning kind of went as you would think. We banned Luminancy, they banned You're Somebody Else. I think we had first pick with Chicago, one that was very one-sided. I think we could have missed and still won. They picked Setsuna Imitation, completely destroyed us on it. It was not even close. That was not even close. And I can also not fault.
You need me.
I can also, yeah, definitely. I can also not fault our team. They practiced the map. I was very proud of them, but it's at a certain point
it doesn't matter against Japan.
I was gonna say, at a certain point you can't do anything about it. They practiced it. They looked into it. We just had no chance. Okay, and then. Afterwards, everybody was banned, and we banned Jimin's Jingles because, frankly, we didn't have the team to even play that map. Japan goes for Veracity, picks the second tech map. We lose that one. And then it got interesting because so far everything went as people would expect. And I look at the maps, and I'm like, okay, unequivocal nature, we cannot FC. That's going to be a problem. Moscow is quite fast. Dimension Hacker, you can forget. So I looked at it. I was like, what are we picking? And I was like, okay, we're going for Deep Down. Talked with our team. Everyone was kind of on board. We go for the tech map against Japan. And everyone is already like, what are they doing? And we win it.
Yeah, the casters were really upset.
Everyone was upset. And we won it really, really closely. And I think Japan used their replay on this map. And we won the replay as well. Suddenly, we're in the lead. And, the maps that were there with Unequivocal Nature and Moscow are both, not super problematic. They're not great, but they're okay. So Japan goes for Moscow. And we win that too. And I'm just sitting there. I'm losing my mind, okay? Completely losing my mind because we are at the match point. And the map that I was like, okay, this is slower, but our team cannot FC it. We the map where we needed Sharks for, one of the maps is just on, right? So we play the map. Of course, we miss. We lose the map. I'm constantly checking Discord to see if Shark comes online. I was like, if this man comes online, I'm gonna lose my mind. I put in the replay. We have a small break. We lose again. Tiebreaker. In the moment that we lost the match, I see Sharks start Steam VR. In that second, and I lose my mind. And like people don't realize how fucking close that was. Like that's what they
amazing for us.
Honestly, like I told people that they were like, "Did you script this?" And I'm like, "No, like it really didn't." So Sharks returns, plays freaking Dimension Hacker completely like not warmed up and misses a few times. And yeah, then like in the middle of the map, suddenly one of Japan's players just has like the I think tournament assistant broke or something. So we gotta play the speed map again. And yeah, that was kind of how that whole thing went, because we wasn't actually able to finish it because Taddus couldn't make it through the map, unfortunately, because of stamina. And I want to say another thing, because I saw people like I don't have the chat currently open. I don't know if people are like saying stuff, but like I remember people being like, "Oh, this gives the advantage to Germany because they have like they hit misses," and I was sitting there. I'm like, no, it doesn't, because these are not speed players. They don't have the stamina to play this twice. Like, if we actually finished the map and only had one player replay, we would have had a better score. I'm not saying we would have won, but we would have had a better score. So in the end, by pulling us out and like starting anew, that did not give us an advantage at all. There was, I mean, this is kind of how we do things in the World Cup. It's kind of how it went before, when MJ had that super weird issue where he hit the blocks and didn't at the same time.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. I remember that. That is the
so
first
odd,
time I've ever seen that bug. That I've literally never seen that in my life.
I saw that in replays before.
TA. It can happen in TA.
It's just gonna happen in the game.
Yeah. It's
a
wild.
Beat Saber moment.
I think it's the borderline version of notes jumping back when you have problem with audio.
Oh. I've seen thousands of hours of Beat Saber gameplay. I've never seen that bug in my life. I didn't even know that existed.
Without passing him up, but actually passing him up, just unplug the headset inside the game, and it will be like you're immortal then.
Did that cost us a replay? Did we have to replay that map?
No.
Okay.
So that was not every bug that is caused by TA or like the server doing weird stuff is not gonna be. It's gonna be replayed, but it's not gonna cost a replay. That's like a technical replay that is being done because technology on CC's side failed, basically.
Technology.
Yeah. So that was basically how that thing went down. And I like at the end I was like I don't know what my pulse was at. I didn't actually check. Should have checked, but I was actually losing lives of like the end of my life. I feel like maybe, you know, if I would have become like 95, maybe it's like 92 now because of that match. So
well, tell you what. First, I'm looking at the final scores for Dimension Hacker, and I see that 93-37 from Taddus definitely. While Maguro also did very bad at the second try, got a 92-19, so probably missed a bunch. Maybe stamina as well. That's definitely where you guys fall off. Sharks actually, without even warming up and missing, still got a 96 on it, 95-97. That's crazy.
Sharks is
and
really
of course, the first score out of everybody is Nilik with a 97-32.
yeah, Nilik is just such a good carry.
By that point on Dimension Hacker as well, I think like Taddus had literally played every single map except for Setsuna Imitation, including both replays as well. Like the amount of stamina drained from doing all of that consecutively, you know.
Yeah, so did Nilik, to be fair, but Nilik is not a human being, so it doesn't count.
I don't know if Nilik's stamina has an endpoint.
Unequivocal Nature twice before, right? Like we replayed that. So we had that match twice, and that is also very exhausting. It has super wide patterns. You gotta really swing if you want to hit those like side four wides and whatever. It's like it's quite stamina draining.
And Moscow, by the way, that's also
that was before. It's also like
Moscow, Unequivocal Nature, and Dimension
twice in a row.
So in the end, the stamina just wasn't there for Taddus. So and like I usually wanted to use MJ for that map because MJ is actually better at that map than Taddus is. However, MJ just couldn't play anymore. MJ was done. MJ was basically dead. He was like, no, I can't. I can't play anymore. So I put in Tatis, and like it was basically, you know, I mean that's also a skill, like endurance, being able to play to the end, and we didn't have the we just didn't have the players with enough stamina.
You should have picked me, Ixon.
I should have, yeah. I mean, you are German, so
yeah,
exactly. For real.
Well, man, that said, Germany did, I think, by any measure, like way better, at least that I expected this year. Honestly, I didn't expect Germany to go this far, and definitely not about to win against Japan. Japan, honestly, kind of started super great this year and kind of went down as we went. Like I was less and less impressed with Japan as we went on. Like the first match against that I saw against the UK, I think it was actually the first was against Poland, but the match against the UK was nonsense.
Because
I mean, after
that from the map pool,
yeah,
that's why they declined.
I mean, also the UK throwing, but you know that maybe inflated the hopes from Japan a little bit. Ixon, do you think that we could have won with a full team?
With a full team, I think
With Jesse and Sharks?
With Jesse and Sharks, I think we would have won. I'm actually gonna tell you, I think with Jesse and Sharks, we would have definitely won.
Bro, we could have repeated the Denmark upset.
With Sharks being there from the beginning, I think the chances would have been that we could have won, maybe like 6 out of 10 or something like that. Because like just having Sharks on the mid-speed maps is also like a huge gain, because Sharks is really good at those. And you distribute the stamina loss a little bit, because like we could have just changed players at certain maps.
Yeah.
And just make sure that people don't die at the end of it. We didn't have these options, so in the end, I think like with Sharks, we would have had higher chances. With Sharks and Jesse, I think that we would have maybe even won 4-2.
I mean, I could see it with such an early match point. Yeah, I could have definitely taken one of those.
I mean, picks and bans might have gone differently, to the point where we maybe like don't go for the tech map and like leave that open. Because we are like, you know, let's not pick tech against Japan. The option is there, because like it was a bit of a gamble, because it was hard to tell how good they will do on it and how good our players will do in comparison, because it's quite hackable. But I honestly think like with the full team that I think it would have like been quite a surprise for many people.
God, I wish, bro, if we would have gotten top 8.
That would have been
crazy. Apparently there's people who didn't believe Germany would do well in the tournament. I don't know who that could have been.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's been some tongues who didn't have who weren't believers in Germany. I don't know. Weird people.
Gonna be honest, I wasn't that much of a believer. Like I didn't think that you would go as like I think the placement you got was about what I expected, but I did not expect the last match to be so close against such a force like Japan.
Understandable, honestly. And let's be real, after Japan, like our journey would have been over, because like I think,
well, it's
looking
only
at Denmark, they're like us but better and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Like our skill set, but like one level higher.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Like it's exactly the same kind of team. Like
I
you
disagree.
and Japan are really different, but Denmark and Germany are really similar, I think. Maybe you're more speed, they're more tech, but other than that, that's basically.
Well, they don't have bits no more, so washed, I guess. Hating on Denmark is my favorite pastime, actually.
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully we're gonna get some Danish boys next week. So that
we gotta get it at some point. Were you surprised? What did you think of the Germany-Japan match, Drakonno? Because we know you are the master predictor. Did you think that was gonna end like that?
The problem is I didn't watch that because I was occupied with the match against the Netherlands.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kind of surprised seeing that now 4-3 for Japan. I would say Germany wouldn't take the match at all, even on the full team, to be honest. Maybe that ACK, but when I'm looking at the qualifiers positions, it's similar to Netherlands-Poland, like Germany against Japan. It's 5 places difference and about 20 hundredths of a % of difference in accuracy. So it checks out basically by the qualifier's placement.
Yeah,
it was just
true.
close. So after listening to you, Ixen, it's actually interesting to maybe watch again that match after.
Yeah, we get the behind the scenes. Yeah.
I mean, I spoiled it now, but it's still a great match because like the individual points, like the matches themselves, were close as well. I think the only two actual clear victories were the first two maps, which was the standard egg map and the classic one, and the rest was just close every single time.
Yeah, plus you've got emotions of the players to see actually on the stream. So
yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what you want.
I think we've stroken Germany's ego enough.
No, I think we should. You can continue. You surely.
I don't want these two to get too strong about it.
Next year.
That said, I think we can go to our next topic. That's gonna be. I think we can go fast on Norway going crazy because it's honestly something that I wanted to put in the discussion points because I was really quite surprised by how well such a sleeper team like Norway, because people know that Norway is a great team, but damn, like they took 2 maps off the Netherlands, but people like they almost completely swept Finland out of the earth with such a consistent like strength. Norway is a great team. They're not appreciated enough, and I think people should tell them that they're good. That's essentially it.
Yeah, the Finland match is one I really did not see coming. I would have. Did I? I think I guessed Finland to win that as well, right? A lot of people did.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I think.
I said 4-2 for Finland as well.
Yeah.
Most people like if I'm looking at it, not a single person.
Team.
Yeah, not a single person went with Norway, and only one person said that Norway is gonna go to the tiebreaker.
And they took it 4-1.
Yeah, that's actually.
Drakonno probably knew, right? You probably knew.
I was occupied with our team, so I had to actually prepare the cheat sheet for our match.
We'll talk about your cheat sheets.
Oh my!
But going through that match especially, the only map that then Finland was able to take, though very considerably, was Demon Jingle. So the speed pick. Otherwise, pick after pick, accuracy not even close. That Wookie Datser Bladis Sirzo, like such an oppressive accuracy team on Norway's side. Yeah, you have General Damas, but literally General Damas had a 99.42, the same exact as Wookie. I think the difference in points was like 10, not even. Yeah, like 15 points of difference at the end between General Damas and Wookie. And then Seska was like at the bottom with the other 3 Finnish players, like under all the Norwegians. Like if all your team beats Seska in accuracy, that's a crazy team in accuracy, right?
Yeah, it's like important to note, like Sirzo being the lowest with the having the lowest ag on that match was at a 99.19. that is the lowest ag. Yeah. For Norway, and like latest was at 99.35. That's the second worst player for Norway, and
yeah,
that's really good in a tournament, especially. That's like really good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's an incredible lineup for track maps.
And of course, Demon Jingles, as we said, it was really a wash, and they knew what going in Norway that they weren't going to win speed. In fact, actually though, they banned the classic map, Setsuna Imitation, before even banning speed. That said, then did the craziest Chad move, I think, with Luminancy, because Finland picked Luminancy, which is, in my opinion, the hardest map that we've seen so far in the tournament. Luminancy is a mess of a map. Like it's it's torturous to play. It's long. It's immensely stamina heavy. It's super wide, never ends. It's horrible. Like it's really hard. And the first time around, the highest. So Norway immediately took it with Floor with a 94.71, which is the top score, by the way. The lowest was Finnish guy, who's though I have to give a shout out to, because Finnish guy was actually winning the whole match, like was getting MVP, and then completely lost stamina. He couldn't like. I think it was stamina. Could have been also some tech issues as well. But mostly I could see that the swings really getting heavier. And at the end got last place with 87. So Finland lost that, replayed it, which replaying Luminancy must be the most psycho shit. Like, why do you hate yourself and the players that you're playing against? Anyway, that didn't help. Finnish guy actually went to get a 92.88, but Floor 94.76. Improving his old score was also crazy, and that was the beginning of the end, really, for Finland.
If I remember correctly, with Finnish guy, it was not stamina, but like, I don't know. It was like either tracking or lags or something. It's something technical that went.
I don't. It wasn't definitely like a lag spike, but rather like spikes, because he kept missing. Like the first half of the map, he was almost flawless, and then at the second half, I can assure you, stamina was an issue. Because the swings don't lie, like that was so obvious, but also probably some tech issues and couldn't keep it up. Probably some weird lag spikes, I guess. Ceska actually was disconnected.
Soon, Oh,
he got disconnected from his headset. It wouldn't have mattered though.
I mean, not okay, but
would it have not made a difference?
No. At the end, calculating it, like they weren't close really to get the top score, especially with Basic and Floor getting 93.16 and 94.76.
Yeah, and the whole Norway improving the scores from the first round.
Oh yeah.
So
especially Basic improving by like 3% is.
Yes.
Basic was crazy.
Loop improved by 1.5, and latest by a fraction, but still improvement.
Jeez.
Yeah, and then they went on to lose against the Netherlands, who I think still missed Jabje at that point, which is, by the way, a reason why I think the Netherlands is one of the scariest teams. They've been going this so far right now with like half of their teams, so they're not even on their final form yet. It's like a Dragon Ball villain, tell you that. Like it's getting to the finals, and then they transform against Goku. Fucking like you're missing Jabje. Yeah, it's not like you're missing like your spare tire. It's basically you're one of the best players that you have, and they're still going so hard. But yeah, Norway is very good. That's all.
I think we might just stick with that Netherlands topic, right? You brought us there, might as well commit. Because if you haven't seen the matches like I have, the Dutch are going hard and they're not slowing down. They are in the lower bracket, but they've made quite a fuss down there. They took Poland 4-1, and then they took Norway 4-2, and now they're up against Canada, who doesn't look too great. We're going to get into that in a little bit. We'll see how that match ends this weekend. I'm very excited for that. But yeah, they are. Oh my goodness, Jesus Christ!
I just wanna say they Netherlands won against Norway on accuracy with Jabje missing.
Yes,
and we just talked about Norway being really good at accuracy, right?
That's bullshit, right? That doesn't make sense.
That was actually incredible. Like,
that's not fair.
My God.
That's really not
Chicago.
fair.
How? That makes no sense. Actually, we can compound the next two topics: Dutch domination and the smartest man in the world. Which, by the way, is Drakonno for.
If you didn't know.
Chat, if you didn't know this yet, it is Drakonno. Now you know. So I like Drakonno to go through the Netherlands-Poland match and kind of analyze this for us. Before you even start, though, I'll repeat. What happened was I was casting this match. Actually, was Netherlands-Poland? Yes, it was. And Drakonno sent me a file, a zipped file. I was casting with Ryan, which was Netherlands-Poland's predictions. And it was password protected, so I couldn't open. And he said, "I'm gonna give you the password at the end of the match, so that you can see for yourself that my predictions were on point." And well, Drakonno, please, were your predictions on point?
I was trying to send you information if they were on point at probably 4 a.m. I watched the VOD, and I've tried to go one by one. I've missed per player, but I didn't miss per combined score. Let's say that.
So you predicted the accuracies as well?
Yes. I'm actually predicting accuracy per player, and then I'm checking if that's giving us an edge on given map, and if that's, for example, a fraction of a percent, like 0.05, then I'm going to pick that map. Because that's only a miss of difference, a bump of difference, a headset inside the wall, etc., etc. So it's
Bro, I'm sending you the file afterwards. It's nonsense.
Please.
Feel free to share it. It's just a PDF with a single page, so there is no formulas or anything like that. But
He's not leaking
for
a secret formula.
I mean, I'm trying to automate that. Most of this stuff is done by myself and by hand, because I'm not I haven't yet automated that, but if I do, I shouldn't spend like 4 hours making that cheat sheet. Plus, the match against the Netherlands was a special one because we were missing a single player. I was probably going to be missing as well because I was on the birthday, and probably one of the currently top players, Wojtek, also said the same day, "Hey, sorry guys, I might not be able to play in the evening." So
he did play, though. He was able to play at the end, right?
Yes, he was able to play, but still he was on the bench, and even on the replay there was a problem with his headset. So anyways, it's almost unplayed.
I was wondering why he wasn't playing as much, because Wojtek is absolutely incredible. I wanna ask you one question first, because we've gone through this in DMs, but I want you to share it with everybody. So first preamble, you know how every time we do roles in Beat Saber World Cup and then we choose Team 1 or Team 2, everybody picks Team 2, because banning first doesn't help. Banning second does, and picking first does help. And
indeed,
I don't think picking first really helps that much, to be honest. You can force things in your way, and most importantly, it's not picking first that matters. It's giving the opponent the option to ban something that you want banned before you do it, so that you don't waste a ban, right? So usually people pick Team 2. It's always Team 2. Except Drakonno. Why?
Because we were sure we are going to take at least a single map, which is Demon's Jingle, which wasn't that easy because of some technical difficulties and Netherlands actually slapping. And they were going absolutely crazy on that. But yes, if I took at least one map, then if that's a swingy situation where you might lose, the last map is in your decision, and that was our everybody.
Right. So what that means is that if you pick Team 1, you can decide what is the tiebreaker.
Yeah, but
if you go until the tiebreaker.
We were afraid we are not going to the tiebreaker.
Right.
And well,
I'm gonna read our exchange in DMs because I found it so funny.
Feel free to.
I'm going, okay, by the way, why Team 1? I don't get it. And he says, because we can then set the order of maps. And I'm like, why does it matter the order? Because if we had the match point decision instead of Netherlands, he says, so the tiebreaker. And he says, it depends if you're hoping for tiebreaker. We hoped for it, but sad misses on Moscow. You did. Yeah, so Netherlands was too strong. But then I was still confused because I'm like, Team 2 can hope that the opponent bans the map that you would have banned, right? The ban hope. And that's having a free ban, which in my opinion is better than choosing the tiebreaker. And he goes with the chattest message that I've ever received in a DM, which is, yeah, that's when you don't know what they will ban. Right, because he knew what the picks and bans were gonna be since the beginning. So that doesn't matter at all. The only thing that matters is choosing the tiebreaker. That's absolutely fair.
That's true. And you've got that on the bottom right corner, you have bans, picks, order, option 1. And you've got something like P is a pick, B is a ban, and option 2, option A, B, etc., etc. So, yeah.
It's wild.
Yes.
So what you're saying is the only people who pick to be Team 2 are the ones who haven't done their homework. There's no reason to pick Team 2 if you're prepared.
I disagree a bit.
You've heard it here first.
I disagree. Honestly, having second ban, like the second time can also be like even like the first ban. Like if you ignore that, like just being second ban on the second ban phase is beneficial. Like if you think about it, going for Team 2 is the lazy, easy way.
Yeah.
That's just how it is, right? That's why I always pick Team 2. Also, on our first matchup against the Netherlands, they started banning high speed, and I was like, hey, right? Because we didn't want to play that, and we basically just banned tech and we basically banned tech and high speed and played against the Netherlands in a nice mid-speed act battle, and that was really nice. I mean, they smoked us, but it was nice. But I feel like I feel like they are like if you want to optimize it, like deciding on the team is actually like you can put a lot of thought into it. You know,
and it really matters how you do your homework, how you do research, because like there are teams that really do their research and they mess it up because they don't use an equally science approved method. My example was the first round of matches this year. We were supposed to see, unfortunately we couldn't see it, Finland against Sweden, and I've talked with the Magician about it. I interviewed both sides to ask about their thought process, and they were on completely opposite sides. Like they both said, yeah, the other team is way better than us at accuracy, for example. So they both wanted to ban accuracy on the other team because they thought they were on a disadvantage. And both were disagreeing on who was gonna win that map and this other map. So somebody was gonna be wrong at that. And I came to the conclusion after seeing the spreadsheets from Drakonno that this kind of strategy really does matter. Like, of course, if you're going against the US, it's not gonna matter. Because there's not much, or really against the Netherlands, right? It's not like Drakonno was predicting a way, predicting his way to a win. That wasn't gonna happen. But in closer matchups, it really can make a difference. So yeah, do your homework.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was. That's kind of what I was thinking as well. It's probably the Team 2 decision. Probably makes more sense the closer your match is. Like if you have a match that you're going in on very, very equal footing, and you have, and especially if your teams have similar skill sets, it's Team 2 probably becomes more appealing, because you kind of start to tend to ban maps not on if your team is good at that general skill area, but literally on a map-per-map basis. Like, you could be surefire, be certain that you win a certain tech map, but then on another tech map, which some teams would say, okay, we lose everything on tech, but you are, no, we win that tech map, but we will definitely lose that tech map, because they are just better at that very, very specific style of mapping. I think in that case, where teams kind of could start to ban similar maps, then Team 2 might make a little more sense.
Plus one more. Also in DM to you, Gio, you have one more, how to say, the warm-up map, right? So any problems with the server, with TA, with components, etc., it's of the opposing team. So if I picked Team 2 and we've got some technical issues, and Netherlands picked Setsuna Imitation, I could go, okay, so now all the players who had technical issues, please restart the game, restart PC, check the connection, etc. And I've got bonus 5 minutes of preparation.
Right. See, that's another aspect of gaming the system that I've never even thought about.
Especially in a matchup when you know you are going to lose some maps, right? And the teams are mostly picking the maps they are going to win as the first entry point and to set the pace of the match. Like we tried to do it with Demon's Jingles and then trying to grab also the Moscow. So.
Speaking of which, there's one last thing that I want to ask you. Because I think it really goes with your mathematical approach. So, at the last map, you guys picked everybody, which was a mid-speed map. And I don't know, I'm sure you rewatched our VOD. We were all very confused about your pick for everybody, because we thought the Netherlands had this in the bag massively, because they were smoking you in accuracy to a degree that wasn't even funny. But you showed us wrong, in the sense that it was way, way closer than we expected. And then you told me that in your spreadsheet, it was really a toss-up between the two.
Yes,
right?
Basically,
What
yes.
was the alternative?
The alternative was
no,
unequivocal nature. But unequivocal nature was kind of scary, because we are losing on almost 0.5% based on the scores set by Polish players. Plus, there is a shootout to them. They were actually playing maps when I asked, and they were super stable with their scores. So I could really nicely just lay out all the scores of every player with, milliseconds reaction time or jump distance if they preferred, and it was basically on point with every single map. So I was super confident when picking something. So yes.
That's another really valuable lesson. Have a team that is willing to put in the effort to allow for some strategy.
I mean, you can choose that.
you gotta can choose that. If you have a big enough country, which we don't necessarily all have. I couldn't choose any players. We barely have 8. All right, I think that's enough. We can go to our next our next guest, and we've sung the praise for Drakonno, so it's time to dunk on somebody. Student athlete.
Yeah, it's been way too positive. This episode has been way too positive.
Okay, so student athlete. I don't know. We have Canada like question mark. We wanted to say Canada is no longer competitive? Question mark. At the very least, not at the highest level anymore. Like the match against the UK guys, I'm gonna be honest, kind of I don't know, was kind of embarrassing on a legacy standpoint. Like you guys got smoked. What happened?
Yeah, the UK match was pretty rough. We went into it like not really sure how we were gonna do. We thought we could like take a couple points, but it was probably leaning in UK's favor. And like, it's not that we didn't practice for it leading up to it. Of course, I played like every day that week leading up to the match. But yeah, I mean, like this year our team is like pretty well rounded, I would say, in that like we have like 5 or 6 act players, 5 or 6 tech, 5 or 6 speed. Like if someone isn't good at a map that fits the category that they would normally do well on, we can definitely afford to switch out players, right? But we were getting like a similar vibe, I guess, from the UK, in that like we weren't really sure what to pick and ban against them, and that was the biggest problem for sure. Is that like,
here's my first question actually.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly my first question. So I see that the best thing that you guys did, like your best score difference, was on the last map played, which was picked by the UK. The difference was 995 points on Another Life. The worst performance that you guys did against the UK was your first pick. You guys went with Spectral Synergism and lost by 54,000 points.
Yeah.
What the fuck happened there? Like, it's basically the exact opposite as what we just saw with Drakonno. Like, the strategy was all backwards. Like, you went better and better as time went on, but always better on the UK's pick rather than yours.
Yeah, yeah, like I said, we had no idea what we were gonna do against them, right? Like, and like when it came to the bans as well, like that really screwed us up, I think, a lot as well, because we had planned on getting rid of the classic maps, and then they banned both classic maps. So I think that threw us off quite a bit as well, is that like we had no idea what they were planning and what they would excel at, just because like they got rid of what we wanted, and we later found out we also ended up getting rid of what they wanted to get rid of too. So just unfortunate, like probably poor planning and a lack of knowledge on our part. Like again, they have a really well balanced team this year, and we weren't sure what would be the best course of action. When it came to Spectral Synergism, we had been playing it in practice, and like we noticed the middle of the map had that big tech section, right? Basically everybody was complaining about it in the World Cup, it's like captain's chat, and it had been changed like a billion times as a result, like just to dwindle down the tech a little bit. And we also noticed that like the UK players, Maddie in particular, had been complaining like especially about it. And so we were like, okay, maybe that's an indication that this could be a good pick for us. Like that was the best lead we had pretty much going into the match. And then like, as far as our player lineup was for that one, like we didn't really have anyone that would be incredible at it, because
Busy was incredible at it.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, but like I should say we didn't have a set of four for it, right?
Okay.
Because like the players that we had that would excel at like the 400 BPM fell off quite a bit in practice when it got to the tech section, and that's why I ended up playing the map, because like even though my like speed ability isn't like I don't act it like a typical speed player, right? But I can definitely combo it in short bursts like that. And so I figured, and well, we realized in practice that how I can act up in that like middle section with the mid-speed tech kind of patterns offset my performance on the speed stuff to the extent that I would be like one of our best 4. We've also had a hard time scheduling matches this year so that we can get Pen to play with us, because she works both days on the weekends, I'm pretty sure, like 9 to 5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so because of that, like one of our biggest speed players has been out for a lot of the matches, right? And that's been problematic as well. So yeah, Spectral, I mean, the scores we ended up getting in practice, we were pretty satisfied with, but we never expected UK to do like anywhere near how they performed on that one. So That was definitely a big.
What you're saying mostly is that, like it's less that you guys are doing worse than you expected, and more the fact that the UK is just popping off to a degree that is unfair.
I don't know about unfair. I definitely feel like we could have taken something off of them, but yes, it was like we didn't go into the match like having an expectation of how it would go, right? Like it was basically a surprise the whole way through, and so that was a big part of it for us. I think we definitely could have done a lot better if we knew like, okay, this is what they're good at this year, right? But it was really hard to tell leading up to it, so that was the biggest problem for us in that match, I think.
Okay. Another question that I have is, did you check UK's team scores on the maps? Because really the question is, do they upload? Like, do they show their hands, or are you going blind in it? Or and be honest, or did you not check at all?
No one uploads. No one.
Yeah, from what we could tell, like they were hardly submitting any scores at all. It was mostly EJ doing a lot of the research, I think, but yeah, he was hardly able to find anything, and as a result, like we didn't really know what to prepare for, right? Like basically most that we had to go off of was their performance on like Satan no Teriyaki. That was just about it, because it's the ranked one, so everybody would have played it by that point, right? We also
which
had,
you
like,
banned.
Yes,
so,
yeah. Yes, and we did ban that based on the performance that we had observed from them and what we were expecting to do, or what we were expecting to do on the map and what we expected them to do as well. The other one, of course, being Nisemono, like the 3-4-year-old map that had like a couple like ancient scores on it, and that was going to be a big ban of ours, but then they got rid of it for us. So yeah, a lot of things like just didn't go as planned, and we didn't have a lot of information to go off either.
One last thing, at least from me, then of course everybody else, please chime in. Despite everything, Busy is still first in this match in every single map played, except for everything, where he got third, but it's behind the first one by 0.01, so he got a 99.23 instead of a 99.24. It is Busy at this point on a level where the other Canadian players are just not keeping up, or is there people that still like keep up with Busy somewhat?
I mean, Busy is just such a powerhouse. At the moment, we don't have anyone that nearly rivals him. Like, I would say based on how quickly and like how impressively Fart Beef has been climbing, that's maybe the next player that can rival him on certain things. But yeah, Busy is just like astronomically outperforming basically every other Canadian at the moment.
Well, Busy's also
which is a good thing
outperforming.
For us, for sure.
Yeah, Busy's also outperforming pretty much every other player on the ladder right now. The guy's an absolute. The guy's just a machine. He's a grinder as well. He's got by far the most scores in top 10, probably way up there in playtime as well. The guy's he's got the right mentality. He's probably gonna be up there for a while with what I'm seeing right now. The guy is super talented, and he's putting the effort in as well, which is equally as important, probably even more.
Like that's the crazy thing about Busy, right? Is that that's the perfect marriage between those two things, exactly as you say. Like, he's monstrously talented and also such a sweat lord. Like, he tries so hard. Like, the guy does not stop. He has that 98% average accuracy on ranked because he has played 3,876 ranked maps.
Yeah. What you were going to say hours for a second there?
He's like a very young player as well, right? So he's gonna be playing for a while because he's capable of it. So that'll definitely help a lot. Just like we're seeing a lot of young players like skyrocketing recently, and Busy's like a perfect example of that for sure.
And then you have at number 1 in the world ranking, I think the polar opposite. You have Silent Bang, who's monstrously talented, but he hates half of the maps. But he's such a menace on anything that he's good at, where he's like on his top play, he's literally 0.4 above Udon at number 2. Like 50, 60 PPs of difference, stuff like that. So that's interesting. All right. Do you guys have any questions?
Actually, I think we can talk about that latter thing a little bit. I think I agree that Silent being at the number 1 right now, and for a while, of course, as well. But because of the points that you listed as well, I really think people like Busy will probably. I think Busy will at some point overtake Silent if it keeps going like this. Yeah. And I think we'll also be there for longer. Yeah, but not consistently. They've been very close, but currently and in the recent past, Silent has had a good lead. But the mindset, Busy's just a menace, and I think we're gonna have him for a couple of years.
Oh yeah,
it's the same. It was the same thing. It was the same with Serret. Serret was the exact same. Super talented, and he put in the time. He put in the hours. He got on the game, and that's how he was able to keep his name up there.
And look what World Cup did to Serret, by the way. Came back for a couple of months. Is now number 4. The guy is nonsensical.
Yeah.
But I really don't understand that sometimes. It's just like out of nowhere, just being like, oh yeah, I'm going to rank up by playing World Cup.
Yeah, that's crazy to me, because there's like, you put so much time into practicing the World Cup maps. It's like you barely have any time for ranked anymore as well, like on top of that, right? But then these top players are still like climbing so much and even more incentivized by World Cup, it seems. It's insane.
I feel like it's because really, I think Serret, when he left, he really didn't care about keeping it, right? Because if you go on his top scores right now, they're all like at most 1 month old. Like his first 1, 2, 3 pages are all at most 1 month old. So the guy is a menace. Like he can come back anytime.
Yeah, also still improving massively.
He's been struggling with stamina, at least he says. I don't necessarily believe it, but that's what he says.
Yeah, I'd have to see it to believe it, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe compared to the past, I believe it. Compared to other players, that's like a different topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a couple.
Yeah, but is Busy still the best player in the World Cup right now? Like, performance-wise?
I would argue that. I would say so, yeah.
Either Busy or Maddie, but Busy did better than Maddie in every map this time.
Yep. Busy's the guy.
Busy's the man. Well, let's see. What do you think about the next match coming ahead?
Like Canada versus Netherlands?
Yes.
I think we have a good shot. Like, I mean, Netherlands' performance has been scary, for sure. So it's not that I'm going into this like, oh yeah, we'll be totally fine. We have nothing to worry about. But I think that the well-roundedness of our team is definitely going to be helpful this time. I think and that's when we went against the UK, maybe having a team that excels at one specific thing would have been to our benefit there because of how well-rounded they are, right? But I think that given that Netherlands this year at least has shown to be like a very strong ACK team for sure, and then like less so on some of the speed maps where I don't remember who their opponent was there, but other people have taken speed maps off of them before, and I think that if they are lacking on the speed in our match, that might be an avenue for us to take some points off. So I do think that there is a chance because of how were able to do fairly well on everything, but not excel at anything specific, right? But it's scary for sure.
I second the analysis 100%. Like, Canada's strength against the Netherlands is on that full-rounded consistency.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, with the introduction of the classics, the whole thing is really more skewed towards extremity, especially in the tech department.
Yeah, for sure.
And then there's a lot of accuracy as well. And honestly speaking, this year, the Netherlands is so scary in accuracy.
It's insane, yeah.
And they have such a powerhouse on lower tech and classic that they could. I think you guys need to put in the research really, because the picks and bans are what is gonna make this this match, I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I don't believe it's gonna be a sweep either.
No,
way.
No way. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I feel like you guys can absolutely secure it in pick ban, but you could also really mess it up in pick ban.
Yes, yeah.
That's what it's gonna come down. That goes for both of them. That's really how it should be. You kind of have to survive. You have to find out exactly what maps they will probably excel at, and just get those out of the way and sort of cope with that, or just really train them so you can kind of turn the tides there. And the same goes for the Dutch. Like, they kind of have to lean into, or maybe even throw a couple red herrings there and try to throw you off. It's kind of
maybe
you guys. It's a little bit of a detective game, because you are probably the more all-rounder team, and they're kind of more like slanted to one very specific skill set or two. You kind of have to play, get the looking glass out and kind of find out how you can counter them, and they kind of have to make you respond.
Exactly, yeah.
Magician, literally right now, EJ just noticed I have not noticed that you spelled Canada wrong in the bottom.
That's really funny.
The whole time I've been looking at it and haven't seen it.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
I always think you're doing that on
There we
purpose,
go.
to be honest, when I see something like that.
Well, couldn't even like give us the respect of spelling the country right.
Yeah, that's my bad. Sorry.
How disappointed you guys are.
You'll gain that back if you perform.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, you gotta bring the A game so that we give you the A back, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. That's a great line. That's awesome. Oh my goodness. Yeah. When is it? Do you have a time for that?
You're gonna have a really hard time on the match against the Netherlands.
Yeah.
To be honest, with the current map pool of losers rounds 4 out of 5, it's like 6 or 7 tech maps hidden as the different ones, and just improperly labeled. Like Labyrinth is a classic, but it's that fucking tech. It's like what you see. It's a speed, but it's a fucking tech. Etc. etc.
Yeah, I think that might be Drakonno coming in with a clutch segue, because the new map pools.
That's my job.
Exactly. Normally Gio always does that, but hey, we take the assistance.
We take those.
New pools are always what we talk about at the end, and then we're gonna have a quick look at what we expect from this weekend's matches. Listen. Let me start out this segment for a second.
I know exactly.
Because it's right there. It's in the banner right there. I need to have a word with Denya, who is the head map puller this year. Because for some reason they decided to the joy of every single player and viewer, to put the best map in the video game, Tower of Heaven, in the lower bracket round 4 and 5 pool. Impeccable choice. I don't know who could have suggested a map like that. It must be a real Chad specimen to go in the map pulling chat and give a couple of classic maps that they could take. One of them apparently being Tower of Heaven for some reason. Sadly the new one, because the old one doesn't exist anymore. But now it's been removed. because one person or like one team was mad in the feedback channel, and then the map holding team went, oh okay, put the tail behind their back and just replace Tower of Heaven, the best map. Let me reiterate, the best map.
The fact that map got like swapped out, but not cheat real is
out of every map.
Yeah.
Like the fact
So
like
weird.
it is actually mind blowing. And it's also really funny because like when I saw that, I immediately screenshotted it and posted it in the Full Combo podcast server. I was like, I need to know what Magician thinks about this. Because
just reminded me
Magician, do
about
you wanna like talk about why this map is so important to you? I feel like that information is like lost on probably 90% of the people
I don't know.
in the Beat Saber community.
Well, it's with the frequency that I've been telling the story with, it's probably hopefully less than that. I'll try my best. But basically, Tower of Heaven is in the classic pool because it was one of the very few PP record maps that we ever had in the game. Tower of Heaven was the first map to have had a 400 PP score. There was a first 500 was that OV or was OV 600?
600 OV.
Yeah, 500 could have been something like Goodbye or Villain Virus, something like that. Maybe I don't quite know what 500 was. It's probably an Estrella score, is what I can tell. It
Countdown
sounds
3,
like
2, 1.
something.
Yeah, right.
Oh, was it? No, that was because of the overmapping, the overranking, though, right? I don't think it was. That got pulled back down.
500 was countdown 3 to 1 by cooling. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, and the 400, it's especially important to me because at first the first 400, the PP record was my play. So I was especially angry at Denya for taking that out. Because it's my favorite map, like definitely up there. It's 100% in my top 3, not just because of the PP record, which is probably the biggest achievement I've made in my career in this video game, but also because it's obviously a wonderful map. It's got some awesome patterns. Some people would call it resets. I call it skill issue. I really don't know what these are talking about. It was very funny. I was in a VC with Rack and Rosie. I think it was yesterday, and one of them played Tower of Heaven, and they were complaining about the resets, and I was thinking to myself, I did not think there was any resets in this map. I don't see them. I don't see them. I played them, I was like, there's no resets in here. And then I see people, there's resets in here, I cannot play this map away. Then I'm like, it's got me.
They replaced it with.
They replaced it with the Labyrinth, which is a wonderful map. Do not get me wrong. I love that map. It's a great tech map, especially that's how I would label it. It's absolutely a tech map in the classic pool.
Yeah. Nada has historically
swap
important.
it out for cheat real, bro. Why did you take my map out? I don't like it.
For you, Magician.
Yeah.
By the way,
They want to
is
put it in
full
the
of
grand
resets.
finals, I'm sure. Wait,
That'd be
grand
one way to make it
finals.
up at least, yeah.
I was gonna say.
I don't think they're gonna put it later on at this point. I would be very surprised if they.
That would
back
be
to
the
their-
move, though.
No, I don't think it will be. It's too easy. I think it's too easy for. It would be too. It would have. I think timing wise, it wouldn't have been great in this fully either. Because honestly, like a little bit faster mid-speed map, it's not that interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's
it
okay,
hurts.
so
It pains me to say this.
Personal opinion, I don't think that matters. Like the category is classic, not difficult classic. Like
Yeah,
I
that's true.
personally
It
would have
is
loved
true.
to see. I would have loved to see some classic egg maps actually. Like there are a lot of classic egg maps as well. You can put those in, and that is also a skill set that a lot of people don't have anymore.
Yeah.
Like being able to actually like I don't know, like put in limbo or something. Like people like the lowest diff on that. It's freaking ridiculous. People will not be able to act that at all. It's such a screwed up map. It's ridiculous, and it'd be like something completely different. So I personally do not believe in too easy for the classic pool. Like I don't think that exists.
Fair. Yeah, I'm not happy with
The
that.
only thing is that it kind of screws, which is an interesting thing. Like I think it would be funny because it kind of throws around the balance of the map pool in general quite a bit, right? Like in your usual map pool without classic maps, you have accuracy, you have mid speed. Essentially, it's the kind of map that you're playing is always the same kinds. So your balance, your team balance is always fairly the same. It changes map to map, of course, but it's always overall the same. But if you throw in a map pool where one of the classic maps is an accuracy map, it throws the balance of the map pool massively, and it can make for some really interesting matchups. But it can also screw a lot of matches over with players saying, hey, if we had a fast classic map, we would have done differently, etc. You know?
That said, though, didn't the classic maps like replace the balanced category this year?
No, balanced turned to mid speed.
Okay, never mind then. Sorry.
Oh, and it turned to other tech. Because balanced, people keep getting this wrong. Balanced is a balance between speed and tech. It's high speed tech. That's like that.
I disagree.
That's it.
It's not about getting that wrong. People use it differently. Like that's the thing. The name is garbage. That's the problem with balance.
It's a terrible name, but
and that's why people use it differently. And the way I always thought it was is it's balanced between two categories because I've seen all of it used. That's why I keep saying it like that, because some people don't use it as speed tech. That's like,
you're wrong. I'm not gonna give you a hard time because you're sexy, and I like when you yell at me.
Oh yeah. Let me finish my rant because of course I don't agree with Tower of Heaven being removed. Sorry, I don't get me wrong. I don't agree with it being removed. A lot of people didn't. The entire map pooling team didn't. But Nolan was crying in the feedback channel, and then they removed it. That's what it is.
Boo, Nolan, boo.
I'm throwing names. Come at me. I don't care. You take my map, I take your life, I take your soul. That's what it is.
If we
take your soul, oh my god.
Nolan, that's reasonable, right?
What did you say? Sorry, you were lagging a little bit.
If we lose our match this weekend, I can blame it on Nolan because he got Tower of Heaven removed.
That's yep. Do that. Get the blame to them. But alright.
Exactly.
Enough of my shenanigans. Enough of one angry German man screaming into the void. Because we actually have to have a look at the pools. I think we're getting into it. Let me quickly find the right thing to put on screen for you guys. So we're gonna look at them. We're gonna start with, I think this is the upper bracket pool. I'm gonna put it in here. I'm also gonna update this banner because I haven't yet. No, go ahead. It's on stream. There it is. Perfect. Is this a winner's pool? It is, right? Yeah, it's the winner's pool. Yeah. There it is.
We can't see it on stream, of course, but you will be able to see it on the YouTube video.
If you're on Twitch, I'm gonna put I'm linking it, but keep going, Gio.
Yeah. Let's start with the classics. Of course, I want to talk about Villain Virus. Villain Virus is, well, I think it's not gonna surprise anybody that this is like my kind of classic map. Like, this is the kind of, I think, is this the first classic map where the NJS, instead of being too slow, is too fast?
Yeah, I think so.
Villain Virus was one of the maps that really got the high NJS meta established. It's we have Nuclear Star also in there, which was a little bit earlier, kind of went in that same direction. Villain Virus just turned that up even more.
I was say Nuclear Star, I think, has a reasonable NJS for its speed.
Yeah,
that is very reasonable, and Villain Virus is just like I don't like high NJS, and 25 is
Villain Virus is it's like unreasonably fast NJS. But it's also very stamina heavy and really hard to combo Anak. And to this day, I think, I think it's an important map for the Italians here. I'm gonna throw it out here because if you go to the villain, it counts for a lot of classic maps, of course. But if you go into the Villain Virus page and go to the Italian map, to the Italian leaderboard, you see, I don't know, it looks kind of like a tree, so almost like a tree stump, and you can see the rings. There's a score by Pietruz, for example. Pietruz was such an important player internationally back when he was playing. Super strong players years and years ago. We've got Alexton first, now Arbo in seconds, just 10 and 6 months ago. Now people can 95 this stuff in Italy, which is sick. But in generally, Violent Virus is a map that it's the first classic map that I feel attached to on an emotional level.
I'm sorry for your loss.
I know. Do people like Villain Virus? I don't know.
Indeed,
I think it depends on when you started to play. This also, I'm gonna let you continue first, Vijay. You were still talking.
Oh no, I'm done.
Okay, because I had people argue that Villain Virus is not a classic map.
It's basically a speed map.
It is
because it is late.
It's a classic speed map.
It is late 2019, as opposed to early 19 or even 2018, which I think was every single other map that we had so far. I personally think it fits. It's an important it's an important map in if we go by the name that EUC also used with historical, which is basically the same thing except that classic is a little bit shorter. If you look at the history of the maps, this is an important map in the history of Pizza, right? Yeah, right. So I personally think it fits, but I've seen people say that it's no, I don't know if it has resets. It has bomb resets. I think I don't think it actually resets in the middle of it. Nuclear Star definitely does.
I don't remember.
Yeah, from what I remember,
not
the map
many.
itself, the mapping doesn't feel particularly classic in the sense that the others have, but the NJS is really the thing that makes it feel old.
Just waiting for Melancholia.
Yeah.
How does it
Oh,
feel
yeah.
old?
Oh.
How does the Villain Virus NJS feel old? It's super fast map with a really decent mapping. It was re-uploaded 2 or 3 times, if I remember, with KLK being on the top for a moment.
Oh,
and it's one of the first 500 PP maps that our players in Poland were able to score. Plus, that NJS might be too high, but in my opinion, it was kind of okay for how the map is fast enough, how the song is fast enough, and to the mapping style. And it was pushing the boundaries.
And it definitely feels like a pastime map. It wouldn't fly today.
It would. It definitely would.
It would fly in the sense that it's still good. It still feels cool to play, but it's definitely an older style of mapping by a number of factors.
On that, I can agree. But still, it's nice to play that map, and you feel accomplishment or some kind of objective when you pass it, especially on a high AC.
Do you guys think if Villain Virus didn't exist and it would get released like that today, would it get ranked?
Definitely.
No.
Not with 25. Not with 25 NJS.
So
I think the map itself.
We seem to have an argument here. Bro.
It wouldn't pass Q&A for speed mapping to this day. That's not appropriate NJS. There are some resets. There are some weird angles and especially blocks in the middle of others. It's not up to today's speed standards, I think, in terms of flowability. It's a great map that I'm attached to, but it wouldn't get ranked. I don't think. Not
We
in
are
that
going
stage.
backwards then. We should increase the NJS, not decrease it.
I mean, I agree, but I don't think there's a lot of people that do.
I don't think I passed that map. I tried for a long time to pass Villain Virus, but I don't think I ever got it.
I get you there. Yeah.
Tell you, it's too new. It's just too new for you.
It is, and it is it's definitely the newest one in the classic category by far. There's a couple 2019 maps, but it being late 2019 is definitely late. It came out about a year after Nuclear Star, and I feel like they occupy in like significance, in historical significance, they occupy a very similar niche. Both are like milestones of mapping that kind of set a new standard. Like they elevated mapping to a new level. Nuclear Star did it in the end of 2018, and Villain Virus did it in the end of 2019. They're kind of, I feel they're very similar in like what they've done to the mapping scene.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Nuclear Star is one I can pass, so better.
Well, and again, to the point that I was making before for the balance. See, this kind of map pool now is very speed oriented because of those two.
Yep.
Because now the classic maps are basically speed maps.
Mm-hmm.
Nuclear Star probably not.
Both
As,
are.
Villain
Nuclear
Virus,
Star not as much.
Nuclear Star is probably
Villain
a little
Virus
bit.
is a hard speed map.
It's not speed though.
Villain Virus it definitely is.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I
100%.
wait a minute. I think that map is not as fast as you think it is.
No, man.
Villain Virus
I
is
think
200
I don't
and-
remember.
Is it like, okay, it's 260 BPM. Does it have like triples or does it speed up?
It's
Because I
10
don't think
notes
it
per
does.
second average.
It has a
It's-
lot of doubles, really dense, really switchy. It's complex, and it's super high NJS that really makes it hard.
The NJS
It's
makes it
100
hard. It is extremely busy, but at 260 BPM, this does not go, in my
Bro,
opinion, above high.
Play that map and tell me. That's
I
not
currently cannot
That's
play that map
BS.
because I do not have the controllers for it. I can try it out. Like, I'm not saying it's an easy map, and I'm not
No,
saying
no,
that
I'm
like,
not
speed
saying-
players will
I'm not saying it's
not have
hard.
an advantage.
the fact that it's hard. It's obvious. There are no 97s on it. Like
I
to
was
this
about to say
day,
that.
it's super hard. But that's not the point. It's a hard speed map, in my opinion. I mean, we'll die on this hill.
I'm gonna look at the map again. I honestly feel
I'm
like that
watching the
map
Beat Saber
was.
preview as well.
I feel like that map, like when I was like before I started playing Turek, I feel like that map was one of the maps that were on my horizon, and that was not like the speed maps of today were not in my grasp yet. That happened like later after I completely destroyed my controller settings. Then I could, for some reason, like play 340 BPM maps for no fucking reason, but not then. And I was looking at that map. I remember that.
You
So
play it like
I'll
a
check it out
speed,
again.
just on the lower side, like easier speed, but still.
I mean,
it's a
I guess
speed.
low speed. We had low speed maps that are similar to this. I
It's
guess.
more a speed than I think it's Bionex from Losers Round 4. Like Bionex feels
Yeah.
like high mid,
Hmm.
and it's way below Villain Virus, being the classic.
And I'm gonna be honest as well. Like I think, in terms of difficulty, Villain Virus is harder than Kings of Darkness. It's harder than Unlock the Black Sky. The Black Sky, despite Unlock the Black Sky having jumps that go up to 424 BPM, I still think that Villain Virus is way harder. Of course, I'm totally biased here. I do enjoy very high speeds. Well, relatively speaking, like not like people in chat that do like 600 BPMs, but
I got the preview working. It
was
took me like
this-
a minute to set this up in the back. This is Villain Virus. This is the last bit.
I think the start of Villain Virus is the hardest part.
You have a
Also,
lot of
okay.
how to say that. You have to focus on both hands separately on the start of Villain Virus.
That's true. That's true. I feel like the map is very spread out It goes side to side a lot, and the nodes are far separated on the left and right side.
But this first few patterns, like they play like speed. They're really switchy, and they they cross really often. There are a lot of bursts. It plays like a speed map.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say the same. But yeah, there's
a lot of bottom lane as well, which is definitely an older mapping practice.
That's true.
It makes it really hard, especially for up nodes.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like it's well suited in the classic category, but it's the most non-classic classic map so far.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what they whip together in
like this
the
part
last
that we're looking right now is, I think, undoubtedly speed mapping. Like not only undoubtedly speed mapping, but really like importantly historically speed mapping, because like this was a standard.
I think I get what you mean. Like the mapping style is speed. It's just not on the same speed level as maps we have today, is what I'm getting at.
It's not the same BPM level.
Yeah.
But on difficulty level, I guess it's way high.
Yeah, I agree with that. But like honestly, the BPM is your swing speed, which kind of determines like.
Yeah, that is true.
Map. That's kind of where my argument kind of comes from. But like, yeah, this map is very difficult. It is also like outside tourneys when you can pause, like when there are bombs like going below you, it's like way more doable than when you're in the tourney, and you can't pause. I know, Drew, you don't pause. You know. Yeah. I know that. But most people do. And I
find this map unbearably stamina heavy. Like it's ridiculous. A mess going through this because it's so mobile. Like it's 260 BPM, but in most 400 BPM maps, at some point you're like this, and you're going and basically you're not moving.
Yeah,
that's true.
Like I can go 400 BPM jumps for the rest of my life, but 260 where I have to rotate my whole body the whole time, it gets tiring after 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it's unbearably like it doesn't stop. That map is like sustained the whole time.
It's 10 nodes per
there
second
is a small
for 4.5 minutes. Yeah, there's one at the end, but the fast sections do feel very long. I agree with you on that. But I also have no stamina, so.
Despite it being like 260 BPM, like it is objectively slower than like the high swing speeds of like 440 BPM maps, but it's still a map that I think favors speed players, you know, like it has that kind of like pattern to it that would just favor people who are able to move quicker and more accurately at those high speeds, right? So it doesn't need to be high BPM to be good for that kind of play style, I think.
We have a 430 BPM map on this map pool. For 424 actually.
How about we just go to that? Don't want this to become the classic pool podcast.
Yeah, you're right. Let's go through that actually. Unlock the black sky is I would say much easier than Villain Virus, despite being but despite having that peak. Though to be honest, it doesn't sustain that pick for very long. We've seen we've seen a lot of these higher BPM maps in those map pools kind of play very, very similarly. Which I'm gonna say, I know it's hard to find alternatives. And to a point where I cannot really comment on it without giving suggestion myself, and it's really hard to do. But it's kind of unfortunate how a lot of high-speed maps in this tournament have played very similarly. Maybe it's because they want to have that high BPM necessarily, like always have it. And of course, the higher BPM you go, the more restrictive your mapping is going to be to still be enjoyable and
it has
doable.
To be.
Yeah, in a tournament environment, like you cannot do 600 BPM and have high tech, you know. Well, you
Not yet.
But
that's what I would like to see in a tournament. A little bit of challenge in here. Woo! That would spice some things up.
Man, you're breaking an open door. But yeah.
We have like luminancy already, man.
Yeah, luminancy, exactly. It's a very bold move to put luminancy in that map pool.
Luminancy was the hardest map so far, by far. This was so hard.
On the Black Sky, I really like the ending, where you have a swap from really high speed jumps to a burst of sliders. I think a lot of players might have a problem there, even the top ones.
You even the top one, you say?
Yeah, if they just wander around with their mind for a moment, and they didn't practice that event once, like go on the side read, etc. They're gonna fail that swap between jumps to sliders and the rest of the map at the very, very end. Something similar what happens on Moscow at the last 30 seconds, where you have a standard techie map with some speed ups, and then last 30 seconds is insane. That was the only reason we were so close on the Moscow against the Netherlands.
Dimension Hacker also is very similar. The ending of Dimension Hacker is quite intense.
But I think it's not that intense.
No, not as intense, you're right. And yeah, those slider spam at like minute 1, actually. Yeah, minute 2 essentially of Unlock the Black Sky is really, really intense.
The speed category kind of has been they've been getting pretty fast, and I feel like that's one of the pools where you can pretty easily see that we do have a little bit of progression, because I think we started at around 360 BPM, and now the high end of the speed maps do get into the 400s. We have Kings of Darkness in here, and oh my goodness, I'm gonna put it on for you guys to see. 400 BPM single-handed jumps. Hi. That's rough.
Yeah.
That's some insane stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's way more sustained, way more stamina heavy. It's slower than the other, but and the scores are higher overall.
Yeah. Because the jumps are mostly very simple. It's just up down. It's basically like just one half of a stream. They're not triangles or something. That'd be something. 400 BPM triangles.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's not that difficult to hit, but the speed and the stamina you need is crazy.
Mostly because we have people who have beat the score compared to the other, but not many, just 2. And of the 2, Silent Bang has 5 pauses on it, which in my book, on this kind of map, absolutely disqualifies the score. Doesn't make any sense with 5 pauses. On the other hand, Bitesy has a 97.53, so even higher. By 0.2 actually, so that's a crazy score without pauses.
Maybe that kind of also gives significance to what we talked about earlier, with Busy kind of being more like stronger in the tournament so far than Silent. Because Silent, a lot of it, like, he's an insane player, but a lot of his scores depend on the pausing, and just can't do that in a tournament.
That's true, but he can. Oh yeah, this part is probably the part that I find hardest in this match.
It's insane, yeah.
The absolute.
That lasts so long too.
Yeah, that lasts so long. It crossovers. It's a mess. Anyway, that extreme, yeah, exactly, Garsh, I agree. That it's by far the hardest part. Silent Bang, though, I think people don't give him credit. The guy can stamina, like he has it. He doesn't use it because he doesn't care about pausing. And of course, pausing is going to help with the kind of maps that he plays. But he can go without stamina. Not as much as Bitesy, though. Bitesy is an absolute stamina legend. He literally beats bots with his stamina plays.
I've seen that.
So, yeah. That and, Silent's score on Kings of Darkness is 4 months old, but it is 0.2 under Bitesy's, which is 4 days ago. Both FCs, except Bitesy, has 5 less pauses. aka no pauses. And in my book, that matters more than anything, especially for tournaments.
Yeah, it's the stamina is just the thing. You just need it in tournaments, and with how fast and how constant these speed maps are getting, you need a lot of it. I would probably have to pause 15 times to probably not though past that.
If you could hit the jumps.
If I could hit 400 BPM, yeah. I cannot hit 250 BPM jumps, so you know.
Well, you're gonna have fun with 400 BPM sustained death streams. Death streams.
400 BPM single hand triangles, right? That's what I need.
That's your jam.
For real.
Yeah.
All right.
I want to talk about dystopian, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if you want to go in order.
No, go ahead, please. Please go ahead.
Dystopian Exodus of the Magical Girls. It's an ABC map. And it's really hard. That is my deal with it. We have an FC on it 2 days ago.
Those patterns are crazy.
Yeah.
Oh,
and it's not even 96.
That's my, I think, third favorite tech map in the tournament. Really.
What is this?
It's absolutely banger plus turbo patterns. Turbo. First time played, absolutely gorgeous.
That's very cheat real.
Really.
It starts like tinnitus too, dude.
Yeah. It doesn't play.
Like tinnitus, you're right.
It doesn't play like cheat real. It's much easier to hit those ones.
About this map. Or basically about all of the high-tech category. Because for the tryouts of Germany, I was looking at maps of the description that Denya gave. And this was one of the maps I saw. And I looked at it, I was like, nah, there's no way. There's no way this is going to make it to the tourney. This is way too difficult. Here we are.
The dot windows.
It's so crazy. Like, I remember. It is really wild. It's really wild.
Mm-hmm.
Good lord. Yeah, high tech has been wild this year. I think that's one of the biggest they leaned out the window the furthest with the high tech maps.
Oh yeah.
They took a big chance on some of these. This as well as cheat drill. I feel like they kinda, to me, they look to be a very similar difficulty. Although this looks like it's a little bit faster.
No. Cheat real has a cheat real. The issue was clapping, not really the insane difficulty of it. But I feel like, to go back to what you said earlier, was it You Magician with challenge maps? This is challenge in my opinion.
Yeah.
These are challenge maps. They're just not called that. And I'm okay with that. I was years ago I argued that challenge should be part of World Cup. These are just this is not Vibro or something like that. It's just challenge tech.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and as you say, this is pushing the boundaries to a point where there are very few teams that have. Well, I think there's probably one, maybe two teams that have 4 players that can play this shit. And there are very few teams that have anybody who can play this shit. I'm telling you right now.
Proven wrong.
You reckon I'm gonna be proven wrong?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, okay. There's only two. This map pool is only played in one match, and there's only 2 teams.
Sadly, yes, but
there's only 2 teams.
Are you arguing that there is not a single team that can play this, or are you arguing that there are more than one? More than 2 teams?
There are more than one.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
The 2 teams that could play it could both field 4 players that can pass it.
Mm-hmm.
The US and the UK.
By the time you get to the winners finals, it's definitely reasonable to have that level of difficulty there, I think.
That's true.
Well, since this is a podcast and it's not casting, I'm gonna bring this up. A cheat reel, if I put my mind into it, yes, I can go through it. This one, I'm never. Look at me, Geo of the future. I'm never gonna pass this. This map for me, it's for me, it's impossible. This is the exact opposite of the shit that I'm able to do. This map is unreadable, it's unhittable, and it's impossible to pass stamina-wise. How the fuck do you go through that? I don't understand. It's way above my pay grade in any.
Swing up and down, and it's okay. It feels much better than cheat trick, for example, especially because you don't have a hand claps there. You don't have to think how to position hands to not actually accidentally crush your controllers.
But cheat real, I can kind of read. Like I see.
You could read that when you would play that. You don't have to think about reading that. You just go.
I don't know, man. I see Omergersh play it, and I have no idea what's going on.
I was gonna say, like, seeing Omergersh play this is so impressive.
It's absolutely impressive, yes, but
how the fuck does he see this shit? It's impossible. Like, I understand he doesn't get a 96 on it, and we were like, oh, a map doesn't have a 96. Now you see it, it looks almost impossible. It's even the fucking map pool for the World Cup, and we're in the winners finals, and it still doesn't look real. And the guy has an FC. The second hardest score has 4 misses on it.
Yeah, the fact that like. Probably among, if not the world's best, like, ranked tech player has an FC, and even that's not a 96. Like, that's an indication of how ridiculous this one is, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. But I feel like that's good. Like, I've been wanting this kind of challenge in tournament pools for a while now, and I feel like with EUC and especially high tech and World Cup, we are getting there. We are getting to a level of challenge where everyone is going to have issues. You cannot, even if it's Omer, you cannot be sure that he can FC that in a match. You just cannot. This map is so difficult and so ridiculous that there will be a ton of misses, even with the 2 best teams in the world.
Yeah,
and that's awesome.
100% okay.
I refuse to believe
in World Cup.
I refuse to believe that we're gonna see FCs on it. On a tournament.
No, I think that is fair. That is a fair thing to say.
Oh, I can
there are only 2
wait.
chances of it happening. 16 players total. We're not gonna see it.
I would have to agree with that, sadly.
Okay.
Because we are playing on the, separate server, on the stress, on the coordination, etc., etc. It's not your environment in the house, so you can play it nicely and quietly. Yes, I should agree with that.
Drakonno agrees with me, means that I'm right. That is how it works.
I hope Omer hears, so he can absolutely demolish on that to prove you wrong, Gio.
Yeah.
So send
that
him
would be
clip.
delightful to see.
I'm sure Gio wants to be proven wrong here. Like,
oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be so good.
Everyone agrees on that. I want to see the FC, but
Yeah.
it's gonna be.
Chat would lose their mind. The most difficult map in the tournament yet, if that gets FC'd. That would be one hell of a memorable first tournament for Omer.
He's been doing amazing already. He's only got the most hype matches coming up. Where he can really prove himself with such high-tech, heavy map pools this year, with the introduction of Classic and having so many tech maps, he can really shine. To your point, by the way, Magician, do you agree with me that the first introduction of this kind of like almost, if not totally, challenge level playing,
ultra tech?
I think the introduction of this kind of stuff was not even tech; it was speed. With Super Luminal in Beat Saber World Cup 2022. Like, that felt that way. I was so hyped for the introduction of the Super Luminal last year.
That's true. Yeah, that was kind of like the first careful steps into this new territory, kind of like dipping your toe into the waters to see if it's actually if the map gets well received, and I think it did, and that kind of gives the confidence. Of course, with Denia being head map puller this year, not Ryan from last year. So of course, a little bit of a different style in pooling. But I feel like that especially gave the brevity, like it gave the courage for Dania to really put this stuff in and be confident that it's going to do well. And I feel like with the difficulty, they've hit the target spot on so far. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, we're kind of running really long on this map poll.
Yeah, I think we should maybe we cannot talk about it's so many. It's like
every
20,
map,
30 maps.
Yeah.
So I think we should swap over to the lower round map pool.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. So we actually can get to sleep tonight.
All right, I'm gonna go straight in with my hot take of the day. I'm sick and tired of Happy Song. It can go fuck itself. I don't want to see this map anymore. Ever played again? Please stop putting it into map pools. For historical, we've already seen it twice. Fuck this map. We don't care about it. I don't want to see it. That's it. I'm done with my hot take of the day. You can go on.
But this is the good Happy Song, is it not?
It's hexagonal.
This is V1.
Oh, that's even worse. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the good one. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, this is the good one.
This is the good one.
Well, both are good. But
I
this
like
is
when
the
you
great
said
one.
that. I was like, "Am I mistaken? Is that the one with the garbage?" Like,
Honestly, I haven't
jumps?
seen it yet. I assumed it was V2, but
This is the
No,
this
this
is the
is-
one
this
with
is the
the
good
outward
one.
spam. The hex
This is the good one.
typical outward spam that is probably best known from the old
okay.
countdown 3, 2, 1. If one of you has played that,
yeah.
that's Happy Song was like the first excursion into that mapping style, and then Countdown took it arguably a little too far for some people. But Happy Song,
Yeah.
it's in the classic pool. That's what we expect from there. It's one of the most grinded maps from that time. There was days and days when that came out where we were just finding strats for patterns and stuff to just pass this, to just get through this map. This was 100% challenge back in the day, and now it's honestly like most of it is it's pretty hackable. It's not fast. It's not fast. It's just super weird angles. That's what annoys people, but it's not fast.
Okay, so first off, I'd like to apologize. I thought this was V2. V1 can pass. V2, I don't want to see it anymore, like in the game in general. Overhyped, I dislike it. So you can have my hot take anyway, even if this is V1. That said, point 2, watch people absolutely die on stream because of that first wall, those walls.
Yeah, it also has 3 whites.
Oh, I think this map is
white
being
walls.
played with no obstacles.
Yes,
So
it
we
will
shouldn't
be.
have to worry about the walls.
Oh, yeah.
Boring.
Which means no duck
said the
walls
same
either.
Boring. I disagree with it. Let people die.
It's really unfortunate that we have to disallow 3 whites, because it also takes out the duck walls on this. It's very annoying. There should be like a tournament thingy that just disables walls on the center 2 lanes. Why is that not a thing? Just make that a part of like a toggle in TA, so you still have the duck walls at least.
It's
Just
gonna be
make it.
part of our
of the
you
turning
make it.
client.
Call it Magic Man. I'm just gonna DM Moon. Just please put that in TA.
Put that in, coach.
I want the UK situation with Tiger to happen again. I need my duck walls. Very important. But yeah, Happy Song is... So Gio doesn't like it? Maybe the V1 a little bit more than V2? Okay, yeah,
This
fair.
one I kind of enjoy, yeah.
Okay. Then, I love how I always start with the classic pulls. They're definitely the most controversial. Let's get to the map that kicked out my favorite. Fucking Labyrinth.
I'll be able to
Honestly-
hear you, but be right back.
Yep.
Honestly, Labyrinth is excellent in my opinion. I'm glad that we have it. I'm sad of
my
the
music
circumstances.
Sorry, I just put Spotify.
But Labyrinth is also a classic
Boing.
map.
Mm-hmm.
It is so
True.
uncomfortable. It's so unbelievably uncomfortable.
It's
Like, it
so much
actually-
harder than hexagonals.
It actually ties up your hands in a knot if you try to play it.
Mm-hmm.
And I
feel
love
bad.
it. I mean, I am a little bit.
Yeah, Labyrinth is a wonderful, wonderful map.
I love Labyrinth. I completely agree. Had Labyrinth replaced Nisemono instead of Tower of Heaven, it would have been the perfect map pool.
Nisemono is also great. Well, there's just too many awesome maps. I feel like we could have done without Happy Song. It's been in many tournaments. Labyrinth is the song as well, like especially the parts with the bombs. My goodness, there's very few maps where you truly feel epic while playing it. I think Labyrinth is one of them. It feels so good to hit those doubles between the bombs. You just go around, just go whoosh, 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 whoosh. It just gets the feeling right. Very few maps do that, in my opinion, to get it that well. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
What else do we have?
I don't have strong opinions about Labyrinth. It's really hard. That's basically my take on it.
Child. Anyways, what else do we have in here? Maybe we can go, since we pretty much skipped it in the other pool. Do we have a little bit about the accuracy? That's also
it's
a
Labyrinth
the
egg maps are actually interesting to me here.
Flamenco is by the same artist who made Labyrinth, funnily enough. It's both Lapix.
I love Tranch's Tell Me You Know. That's such a great map.
Good kid song as well.
I think it's quite wild how how hackable two of the maps are. You have like an actual track map in there, and then you basically have a low standard egg map that I don't think we have a lot of scores on just yet. But
which one is that?
It's also gonna be full of 99s, like full of them, completely.
Which map is that? I wanna put it on the.
Tell Me You Know by Tranch, Hartiv. That is 2 notes per second.
Right now, there's only 199 by William, which is a 99.24, by the way, but which is a great score. But we're gonna see way more.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Lots of 99. So like, teams with good, slow accuracy are they're gonna. You can't ban them away anymore, which is good. I think should kind of
like
happen.
I think Bandita could get a 99, like 4 or 5 on this.
We'll see.
And Bandita is not necessarily even the best at this kind of stuff.
We won't. Bandita's not playing this one.
Yeah, I know.
My bad. But yeah, I really want to see. I feel like a lot of teams with the changes to mid-speed tech and introduction of the classic pool, ACK has been played a lot less, which kind of is good because it was a really, really, really highly played category in the past years. And I'm not the biggest fan of tag, but in the amount that ACK, sorry, not tag, but in the amount that it's played currently, I think it's awesome. I look forward to it. I look forward to seeing ACK maps. In the right amount, it's a great thing. It's a great thing to have.
They're very, very satisfying. If it's the occasional thing and not like the majority of a match, then it's like the perfect way to show it off, I think.
Yeah,
and also I maintain that is the most stressful maps to play in a tournament.
Yeah.
Everyone agrees with that. The slower, the worse it gets.
Yep.
The nerves.
Also in the ACK category, by the way, is the low to mid tech map Flamenco House.
Oh god.
I'm getting a replay of that.
That's definitely a tech.
That's interesting.
The tech maps are also quite interesting.
I want to put Flamencos on for a second. What do we have?
Yeah, there's a couple maps that I feel are weirdly categorized in this pool for sure.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
Like, we have this weird thing
that's not an ACK map.
with ACK especially. Yeah, I know, right? Well, here's the
that's
thing.
Just an attack.
Maddie has a 98.55. Does it make it an ACK map? I don't think so. But people would tell you yes, just because the MPS is so low. But it's a tech, right? I think
that's what that. Not knowing, like, if I hadn't known where it is, I would have put this in the low tech spot, I think. Mostly because of the angles and the swing patterns. Like the way you have to move around.
It wouldn't belong in the low tech on this map pool, though. We're too far ahead.
Too far. This is like
for having such
maybe
an hackable.
Yeah, I feel like this could have been a quarterfinal low tech map. I feel like
Yeah.
They could have fit there.
And it puts this map into a very a peculiar spot where two of the three ACK maps are one is like essentially Truac, basically. Like, tell me you know it's not Truac. I know it's not Truac. Don't kill me. But like it's really, really slow and hackable. Like you don't have stacks, you don't have anything like that. And then you have the other one which is basically not even accuracy. Well, so
you mean Flamenco's?
Yeah. And
so you were talking about Sharks. Sharks is accuracy though.
And then you have Sharks.
Yeah.
Which is even more Truac. So
it's just like Sharks is Truac, and
yeah,
Tell Me You Know is low standard.
Then you have Flamenco's, which is basically not even ACK.
It is Flamenco's. You can definitely make an argument about it being a low mid tech speed tech map. I think that definitely makes sense. But I gotta like a thing that was said earlier, the fact that like at this point that this can't qualify as low tech. I don't know about that. Like,
I think it would be a wasted spot. I'm gonna be honest.
I mean,
I don't think it's interesting enough to be low tech.
Yeah, but I feel that way for every map pool. Like, I don't think that the progression of the pool necessarily has like an impact on that because we have a tech map more now. Like, you can go more difficult without losing out on like the gradient of difficulty. I still feel like if you just go. Like, this is my opinion. I don't like pool progression at all. I hate it. I think pool progression does not belong in tournaments at all. Because I feel like you are making... Like you're making the beginning pools biased towards slower players and the end pools towards faster. And it's just like, it's not a balanced pool for the tourney. However, going more difficult by adding more maps into like the general... like the... What's the right word here?
Going from like best of 7 to best of 9.
Yeah, right. You have like more maps. The differences between the maps can kind of stay the same, and you can just add something on top. I feel like that's fine. So we can go real difficult with tech, but I feel like the low tech map can stay where it is. I agree.
I'll correct myself. Flamenco House doesn't belong at all. Like I think it's a weird pick. Like, it's a weird pick for accuracy, and it would be too boring for low tech in any... I agree with your take on pool progression. I've had quite a few changes of mind during my time, but at this point I agree with you that it just a weird unbalance during the turning progression. What is tough is that if you don't progress with highest stuff like high speed and high tech, you kind of put lower grade teams in a position where they are forced to ban some maps that they simply don't have the players to play. Like if we had Luminancy in the first round, right? It would put higher teams to such an advantage just because they can play this while other teams can't, where they put it into a disadvantage. But it's so cool to have those kinds of maps that I think a bit of progression in those super hard maps, like at the top of speed and top of tech, it's just more fun to have them progress a little bit during the tournament, because it's just you have the best teams play them. I think it's fun. But other than that, I agree with pool progression. I think Flamenco House is just too fast to be tech, too fast to be accuracy, too boring to be tech. Doesn't really belong. I don't like that.
So one thing I will agree on is that I feel like having the exact same maps in like the first pool and the grand finals is kind of like anticlimactic. Like just having a 7-minute speed stamina 370 BPM map in the grand finals be like one of the deciding matches. That is a level of hype you just like you kind of need it there. you kind of need to put something in where you're like, okay, the players are all gonna die, and I want to watch it, right? You kind of need this in the finals, be it losers finals or grand finals. So I agree with that. Like you don't necessarily need those in the first in the very first pool. That is maybe not necessary, but again, like the pools are getting bigger, so you have the possibility of doing that without necessarily changing where like the middle point of the map pools are.
And it's not like progression, right? It's just having more like those little maps that just are a shining example of like skill in Beat Saber, like putting a bit of challenge, pushing a bit of that.
You need that sometimes.
People mistake it for progression. Yeah. Let's go on because honestly we're dragging on with this match for so long this time.
Every time before the show, every time before the show we say no, it's not going to be 2 hours again. Like we have so few topics, like we're going to breeze through this easily. And here we are for the second time in a row. Last week was insanely long as well. Really sorry for you guys who have to sit here if you're watching through all this, and to you too as well. But you just signed up, so here we are. Gotta take to the end now.
Talk about Beat Saber. I'm gonna be honest, like I don't do it on purpose. I just like to talk to you guys about this stuff. I enjoy it. Anything you wanna especially shout out? I think the 727 BPMs on literally on Beat Saber. If you go on WYSI.
No.
Perfecto.
It says for Beat Saber World Cup, no crouch wall, and it's 727 BPM.
Well, that's yeah.
Yep.
So much about the BPM cap, right?
Yeah, I know, right? And it
but it's not mapped to 700. Yeah.
I think
it's 360.
High 300.
363.
Yeah.
But it's funny that it says it.
I mean, heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a very fast one.
What about the high tech pick of this one? I think it's cat loving.
Dude.
Oh,
I think Grew Kicks and Vicious Heroism are the high techs. Although Grew Kick is the more interesting of the two, in my opinion. That one's like, it's such a deviation from what high tech has been represented as in World Cup thus far. Like for the most part, it's like speed tech, like a lot of like sideways notes and stuff like that. And Grew Kicks is like significantly slower, but it really accentuates like extreme angles in tech, which I like it a lot. I think it's a cool deviation from what we're used to. I've seen others who highly disagree with that opinion.
I personally enjoy maps like those more, actually.
Sorry?
I said I personally enjoy tech maps like those that are kind of slow but have like ridiculous angles and positions. Mm-hmm. Where sometimes you just instinctively want to reset because you think it's a reset, but it's actually not, because you just have to go like 320 degrees with your saber around to hit it. I personally like those maps. I think they're really fun, and them not being super fast also makes it possible to play for more people. Like I can like pass them sometimes. If they're faster, I just don't stand a chance.
By the way, this map, Grukix, just to put it into perspective, the bot Saber Ramen, okay, has a miss on it. Like, it's fucking impossible to combo. Like the bot has a miss on it. It's a 96-72-1 miss, so very, very good score.
It's too good for the AI.
But Ormer Grish has a 96-61 FC.
At what point there is a miss from a bot? At the very end or somewhere in between?
It's a bomb hit. Like 2 minutes 05.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the claps.
In the last minute claps?
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah,
like the last
minute claps.
I will say that's my one complaint.
I might have showed the wrong map there then.
I've played that map and I was like, why the fuck at the last 3 rows of nodes, the very last ones at the map, there is a misleading bomb preset.
No, that's
Because-
that's not it. I understand. I got what you mean. No, it's not that one. It's
Not that-
a minute before that.
Okay.
And also, the bot doesn't get mixed up with bomb resets that are like weird.
This one, there is like first one you have to reset, and then you have inverted swing, so it's okay. I don't know why it's this way.
Gonna be honest, this map I cannot play it. I think I'm just too old. Like I would disintegrate into pieces if I tried to play this. Like I would have to go to the hospital after an attempt. But like arthritis would like destroy me. But amazing map to see. It's just so fun. Of course, I'm not a monster, so I do also hate Ozaku for mapping it.
Fair.
Like I stand with you players that have to play it. I understand, but I really hope that we see it because it's so much fun.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
so satisfying to see like people who know how to play it too. Like watching Omer's replay, for example, it's like it's so beautiful.
As
You also understand
as
the
far as I'm
patterns that you
concerned,
do.
yeah. And as far as I'm concerned, Omer is the only one who can really play it. Like play it and act it. Because 96.6 on it is bullshit.
Yeah.
This kid
Yeah,
is
that's
really
ridiculous.
on another level.
Let's see. My theory is if he, if Omer FCs, what map was it? Oh, Exodus.
Yeah.
That is on par with the Machine Gun FC. It would be. I feel like it would be.
I don't know, man. And the Machine Gun FC stayed first for the longest time.
You
It was
think-
not
you
only an
think
FC.
Omer's
it
FC
was
on this
the-
wouldn't?
Honestly, not as much. Like a year later,
He's on
Like
Geo.
Magician,
He's
he already
already-
did it. He already
Uh-huh.
FC'd it though.
Yeah, in
Like,
a
that's the
tournament though.
thing.
he has it
There
already.
is- Yeah, I was gonna
Fair.
say like it's like I think what was it like two
Okay, yeah,
misses on
fair.
Machine Gun before
Fair.
before Taichi did that.
Okay,
I
yeah,
feel
you're
like
right.
that's not quite the same level.
That's not
And
quite-
it was-
okay, yeah,
it was-
okay, you're right. I
Most
could see.
importantly, it was an FC. It was the first FC, and it had such high accuracy. It was almost a 96.
Okay, yeah,
Back
no,
then
no,
was
yeah.
unheard of.
True, I didn't. I forgot that he already has it. That's fair. The tech is just it's crazy. Half a
But
percent.
yeah,
above
that said,
second.
I don't want
No.
to. Like,
No,
I
it
don't
would be-
wanna-
It would be.
It would be
insane,
such
right?
an incredible score. Like, and for sure would stay first for the longest time. Like this FC that he has, I'm assuming that he's gonna stay first for a while.
think so.
I only see Maddie being able to snipe it. Maybe.
Maybe, yeah, could be. But yeah, I think we're good with the map rules. We've talked about it for a while. It's always like that. It's always like it's so much stuff as well. It just
Wait
takes a
for
while
next
to get
week
through.
when we talk about the grand finals and losers finals, dude.
It's gonna be a while. All right, we have one more topic to get to. As every time we have a little bit of a lookout to what we can expect from this week's matches. There's not that many anymore. We went from 8 matches in the first 3 weeks to now I think it's 4 only.
It's
Yeah,
three,
it's
I
only
think.
4 matches this week. So we
Oh,
halved
no, it's
the
4.
number of,
Yeah.
we have the number of matches. We have the winners final. There is 2 countries who have a slot to make it to the grand final. Both of them are confirmed for what I just called championship week, which is not the one coming up tomorrow, but the one after. The US and the UK are all already confirmed. They're going to play next week. One of them is going to go to the grand finals right away, and the other will drop down to the lower bracket final. And then in the lower bracket, we have 4 teams, and only one of them will make it to next week. That is a gauntlet. That is a brutal gauntlet. We have Australia, Denmark, Canada, and the Netherlands, and only one of them will be able to play next weekend.
I want to know by everybody, who do you think is gonna get to next weekends from the bottom? Because I'm gonna go very quickly for the top. The US is gonna win against the UK. UK is gonna go to match 28 to go against whoever. Let's not kid ourselves. Who wins between the four guys? It's Australia, Denmark, Canada, and Netherlands. Who gets on top?
I'm gonna make a poll about it, actually. If there's people in Twitch chat, you guys can...
Yeah. Student athlete, I feel like... think it's Canada?
Student, how do you feel on tech? And how many bans you have in the losers round 4, or rather 5?
That's a good question.
How many bans are there?
No.
What was that?
How many bans you have?
How many?
How many times you can ban in the losers round?
That is a best of 9, so it's three maps you can ban.
Yeah.
6 in total, I think.
And you have to win 5 maps? 6 maps?
Yep.
You have to win 5.
So, for me, that's Netherlands win. Because you have 8 tech maps, basically. Hidden as the other maps. Then you can ban
there's a lot of tech in the other categories. Yeah, you have one in the classic.
Plus, Happy Song isn't a speed, that's the stupid tech, something like that. So that's up to 9.
I'm curious in that case. Who do you think would be better on the tech maps out of Netherlands and Canada?
Netherlands.
Yeah. Okay.
Netherlands is on fire. They tasted blood in the lower bracket. They have one hell of a run going. I'm on the bandwagon. I feel like they're going all the way.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to proving you all wrong. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Okay. EJ say we 5-0ing Netherlands tomorrow. Please somebody screenshot that, because I don't care what anybody says. That's bullshit, and it's never gonna happen. Mark my words. Like, my word against yours, EJ. That's not gonna happen.
But
you know what? Earlier, I said it probably wouldn't be a sweep in either direction, but maybe I will sweep just to prove you guys wrong. You know, I will personally make sure that it's a sweep.
Personally sweep.
Yep, exactly.
I think Australia, Denmark has the upper hand here. I'm gonna be honest, because Australia, while having incredibly good players, has been suffering kind of like the same thing that Denmark actually has been suffering for a little bit, which is not great consistency. And also they play at times that are not necessarily the best for them either. And there's a lot of things with Australia, of course. And I don't know who plays this time around. The last time they had issues with players not being there, etc. So
having
I'm
lost
giving
Thailand to the weather especially was really rough for them, I think.
So I'm giving Denmark the win between Australia and Denmark. Between you two, really, Canada, Netherlands has been the toughest to predict for me. I keep going back and forth. I have no idea. At this point, right now, I'm leaning towards Netherlands. If they have Yabye. If they don't have Yabye, there's no chance. Canada wins.
I think they are supposed to.
If they have a full team, you guys are in trouble. Like, you guys need to bring your A game, because those are excellent players. And they have the strategy, they have the teams for everything, and this map pool that you're gonna go play is stacked against you. I would agree. Even though the high tech, for example, I think you guys take, honestly, just because it's so nonsensical. I don't think the Netherlands have exactly the right skill set. I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's gonna be played, honestly. After that, though, whoever wins between the two of you, Canada and Netherlands, they're not gonna have an easy time against the Denmark, but I think either will come on top.
Yeah, I do think that against the Netherlands would be our scariest match out of like Netherlands and the two opponents we could be against next. Tomorrow's is probably the most intimidating one, I think.
We'll see.
Not
we'll
to
see
say that it
later.
can't be done, of course.
That's true. But I feel like, and then, let's say you win that. Let's say you beat the Dutch. After that, you play Denmark. Is that easy or more harder?
I might be like underestimating them because of how we performed against them earlier in World Cup. But
right,
I do
you've
think
already
that
played against them. Oh, you have True, you beat them once already.
Exactly. I do think we have a better chance against Denmark than against Netherlands. Weird as that sounds, I do think that we'll do better there. Probably.
I will agree. If you pass the Netherlands, the Denmark will be easier.
Mm-hmm.
When we pass the Netherlands.
Shit, I needed to say something. About
yes, sorry.
Oh fuck! It was something.
And then Australia, Denmark on the other side. I feel like Denmark. They look good. Australia has been kind of struggling.
I feel like this could be another like questionable take, but I feel like Germany, Denmark, and Canada are kind of like the three evolutions of the same Pokemon. Like,
I get where you're coming from,
like
actually.
You guys are Charmander, then you have Denmark as Charmeleon, and then Canada is kind of Charizard. You have very similar playstyles, very similar, like even team assets in general. Like you have your Nihilek, and you have Busy, of course, and then for Denmark less so. It's more about.
There's a couple, they've Rag, they've Gustav.
I think Rack does count, but yeah, it's not as much as Busy and Nihilek compared to everybody else. And mostly the skill set is very similar, like very good in accuracy. So I'm not sure, but kind of similar. Pointless at the end of the day if it's true or not, but
it's fun. It's actually a good tweet. Maybe I'll make that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that basically is everything. There's, like we said, 4 matches this weekend. 3 of them are already scheduled. Let me just get you guys the times. We start with Denmark-Australia. That is tomorrow on Saturday at 11 a.m. UTC. We have Canada versus the Netherlands at 4 p.m. UTC. And then the US versus the UK at 6 p.m. UTC. And then that lower bracket semi-final will be scheduled this weekend because, of course, we don't know the teams yet, but it will be on Sunday. Pretty sure it will be on Sunday. Either very late Saturday or Sunday. So go to the World Cup Discord server. It is linked under the stream, probably. Yeah, there's a Discord button you can click on to go there. You will be pinged. There will be pings for all of the matches. There's events in there, so you can click them to stay up to date. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. I think we're pretty much done with everything. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here. Thank you to our guests, Student Athlete and the Giga Brain Drakonno, for being here for so long with us. We're not stopping with this joke. It's so far, and you keep throwing wood on the fire yourself. You gotta be honest. It's just you're making it worse. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching.
Life.
That's true. We'll see you guys again next week for the grand final warm-up. Don't know who's joining yet, but it's gonna be a very fun one. This has been as well.
It's gonna be our penultimate episode next week, by the way, for the World Cup series in general. We're gonna have one after the World Cup finishes, and that is gonna wrap up, I think, season 1 almost of this podcast, going into another thing. We're gonna discuss that at a later times.
Absolutely.
Cool, right, people.
Thank you, Drakonno. Thank you, Student Athlete. We'll see you guys next week. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.